Hey everyone, Harris O'Malley from DrNerdLove.com, and this is Ask Dr. Nerdlove, made possible by my generous patrons at patreon.com/DrNerdlove. And I am here today to answer your questions about love, sex, dating, and self-improvement. If you've got a short dating advice question that you'd like to have answered, you can send it to me at doc@drnerdlove.com or share it in the comments, and maybe you will have your question featured on here. This week's question came to my email from Gibson, who asks, my girlfriend and I are having to be in a long-distance relationship for the foreseeable future. How do we make this work without getting bored or losing our connection? This question actually became a matter of uncomfortably good timing because thanks to COVID-19 and social distancing, if you're in a relationship and not actually quarantined with your partner, well, you're pretty much in a de facto long-distance relationship. We are at a point where a lot of folks can't go out and see their boyfriend or girlfriend, definitely for weeks, quite possibly for longer. That has the potential to put a lot of strain on relationships right now, which is honestly an extra level of stress that folks don't need. But that is why we are here today. Let's talk about what is necessary for love in the age of novel coronavirus. You know, I kind of like that. I feel like that's pretty catchy. Look, at least I didn't say it would probably go viral. There are certain factors you need in a relationship to make it work over the long term. You need mutual respect, an emotional connection and validation, understanding, a focus on the needs of the relationship, and physical affection. A lot of that can be very difficult to manage in a long-distance relationship, especially the physical side of things. Even in the era of Skype, Google Hangouts, and FaceTime, video, voice chat, and texting can't replace the physical intimacy that comes with a relationship. Like I've said before, love isn't just an emotion, it is a chemical reaction in the brain. The generation of oxytocin is a big part of romantic love. It encourages things like social bonding and sexual arousal. The lack of oxytocin is one of the reasons why you can start to feel detached over the course of a long-term relationship, especially a long-distance one. After all, one of the surest and easiest ways to generate oxytocin is through sex and physical touch. And obviously, that all goes away in a long-distance relationship. That's why normally one of the keys to making a long-distance relationship work is to visit as frequently as finances and circumstances allow. Making as much of your in-person time together is a huge part of reinforcing and reaffirming the bond between you and your partner. Even when circumstances aren't perfect and you can't spend all your time together, it is vital to spend what time you can get with each other. If you wait for times to be perfect, then you'd be seeing a lot less of each other because those perfect times don't really exist. After all, even in traditional relationships, there are lots of times when work or other obligations keep you from being able to see each other as much as you would like. Being able to steal time for yourselves is important. Of course, during, say, a global pandemic, all that goes out the window. Since travel is basically off limits right now, especially air travel, and it's hard to say when restrictions will ease up, it is more important than ever to put in the effort to work around the obstacles that we all face. Now, when it comes to making a long-distance relationship work, the first thing to think about is how you can spend quality time with your partner when you can't be there physically. The answer to that may seem a little weird or like the setup to a hacky sitcom joke from the 90s, but planning and having long-distance dates. This is a very important part of making long-distance work. Those virtual dates, I feel painfully 90s just saying that. Those virtual dates help you have fun together, maintain the connection between you, and they give you things to look forward to. All things that are critical for keeping that relationship vital and alive. But let's be honest, while both of you look forward to those Skype calls, they can get a little samey, and we're a novelty-seeking species. Adding some unusual activities that you can do together help inject some refreshing innovation and originality to your relationship, which is why I suggest doing things together just virtually. When I was in a temporarily long-distance relationship, one thing my partner and I would do would be to find a movie playing at approximately the same time, go watch it, and then call to talk about it afterwards. It wasn't quite the same as seeing it together in person, but it did give that sense of a shared mutual experience. Now, granted, movie theaters are closed at the moment, but there are other options. The Chrome extension Netflix Party, for example, lets you and your partner sync up the video playback and watch the same movie or show at the same time. By using Skype or Discord for voice call, you're able to share the experience without the distraction of having to type in the group chat. Alternately, you can take this opportunity to take in some culture together. Many museums, including the Guggenheim, the National Portrait Gallery, the Musée d'Orsay, the Uffizi, the Getty, and the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History all offer virtual tours, allowing you to see sites and famous works of art you might never get the opportunity to visit otherwise. There are also a number of national parks that you can tour, either through Google Earth or their websites. Another idea for a long-distance date would be that now is a great time to catch a show. The Metropolitan Opera, for example, is streaming a number of performances, both through their homepage and through the Met Opera On Demand app. There are also several Broadway plays and musicals that you can see online during the quarantine, including the original Broadway casts of Rent, Into the Woods, and Billy Elliot. Unfortunately, Hadestown, Beetlejuice, and Hamilton aren't on the list yet. As with the movies, open Skype or Discord, coordinate the start of the video, and have yourselves a night at the opera. I've provided links to all of these options in the show notes, so you can keep these all on hand for when you need them. I also suggest doing things that are a little more interactive. Gaming together can make for a great date night when you can't be there physically. A number of popular board games have apps designed for online remote play, and that could be especially good for when you're feeling the need to get a group get-together. However, I recommend online gaming via console or PC even more. And while Fortnite and Overwatch have their place, I recommend using cooperative games, especially MMOs or puzzle games. Not just because they tend to be slower paced and allow for the two of you to play without being interrupted by BongLord69 screaming at you because you're a Hanzo main, but because those co-op games emphasize the two of you working together. Part of what makes a relationship successful in the long term is the sense that the two of you are a team, striving together as a unit, sharing those triumphs that you were able to overcome because you two work so well together. It's a tangible reminder that while things can be difficult, the two of you can overcome almost anything if you both work at it as a team, which honestly is an important thing to keep in mind during your separation. Now, as a personal recommendation, I suggest Stardew Valley. It is a surprisingly relaxing and mellow game that allows for shared multiplayer farms. The goals and diversity of activities within the game provide plenty to do that keeps your interest, but you're also able to have some surprisingly intimate moments, even when the two of you are just fishing side by side on the docks. It's a really good way to scratch that itch for quality time together. And by that same token, one of the things that we often miss most in a long-distance relationship is that sense of presence. Not just the physicality of somebody else being there, but the little things, the sounds and noises of your partner being around and going about their day, even if they're not in the same room with you. Quality time doesn't always mean time spent exploring Big Ben together or games of Carcassonne. It can also mean just knowing they're around. It's easy to lose track of that in the face of more intense or focused activities. That's why it can be good to have virtual hangouts. Informal moments where you keep a Skype or Discord call open while the two of you just do your thing, even if it's answering emails, cleaning, drawing, or working. It can be incredibly soothing and give you two a much needed sense of togetherness. But then there's the sexual side of things, because let's be real, you're both going to want to scratch that itch, especially while social distancing is in effect. This means you're going to need to replace that physical intimacy as best you can. And to that end, one of the things that will do you both a world of good is to learn how to get good at sexting, at phone sex, and camming. This is a time when studying how the pros do it can actually be a valuable learning experience. Knowing how to put on a good show for one another is an incredibly worthwhile skill to pick up. Not only in terms of keeping things hot while you're long distance and unable to see each other in person, but for the long-term health of the relationship as well. Boredom is the relationship killer, especially when it comes to sex. Being able to switch things up, find new and novel ways of turning each other on, and having some fun while you're apart, in the short term or the long term, helps keep the spark alive and the relationship hot. And in that same vein, knowing how to take good photos for sexting is a skill in and of itself. Understanding lighting, angles, shot composition that shows you off to your best effect all make the difference between a really hot pic to send to your partner and one that makes you go, oh God, I look like that? Incidentally, one secret to success: invest in a phone tripod and a remote Bluetooth trigger. This will give you the ability to take shots that aren't mirror selfies or limited to what you can achieve at arm's length. And again, this is an area where it helps to do your research. And there are plenty of resources out there to teach you how to take a good sexy pic, or 2, or 3, or 5. But one thing to keep in mind, sometimes what's suggested is far hotter than what's explicit. In fact, if you study pinups, especially classical pinups, and Instagram thirst traps, you'll get a variety of ideas that you can send to your partner or that your partner can send to you. And as you both look for inspiration, looking through those photos together, or browsing some cam shows for that matter, can make for some fun, hot foreplay during a Skype call. Just lock your door first. Another thing to consider with the sexual side of your relationship when you're long distance is to get physical, old school style. At the risk of sounding old as hell, I came up in the days before webcams, before digital cameras, or even the near universal adoption of the internet. Long distance relationships at that time meant sending physical letters and really expensive phone calls. As inconvenient as that could be, it also gave a certain beauty and poignancy to the physical mementos of the relationship, like letters and photographs. Handwritten letters have an authenticity and intimacy to them that emails and texts simply don't have. Writing letters full of longing and passion and descriptions about what you want to do to one another is a lost art, but one well worth reviving. So while you're apart, consider going old school like a soldier going off to the Western Front. Send physical mail to each other. Not just handwritten letters, but also photos. You can get photo paper for inkjet printers really easily, and having a physical sexy photo of your partner can have more meaning and more erotic impact than a file on your phone. Plus, as a bonus, it's a lot harder for a sexy print to accidentally end up on the internet. It can also be worth sending physical items as well. This can sound cheesy as all hell, but a pillowcase or a shirt with your cologne or your partner's perfume on it can help bridge the distance between you. You may not be able to be there in person, but the scent of you or your partner can be a powerful sense trigger that can help you feel like they're there even when they're not. But the thing that helps the most in making a long distance relationship work is the knowledge that there will be an end point where it will no longer be long distance. And as rough as things can be in the present, even in the age of the COVID-19 pandemic, there will be an end. So take that energy, build up that tension between the two of you, so that when you're able to be together again, you can have that incredible release. All right, before we finish things, a quick update. Under the current circumstances, I'm extending the lead time on the sign up for the Dating Accelerator beta test program. Things are chaotic right now, and I want to give folks who are interested a chance to get settled and secure before deciding to make that investment in themselves. That having been said, When the crisis is over, and it will end, and the quarantine is lifted and people can go out again, it is going to be wild. People are going to have so much energy pent up and be ready to rage. If you want to be ready for that moment, then this is the perfect time to sign up for the beta test of the program. There are only a few spots remaining, so if you are ready to build the love life you have always wanted, head over to the NerdLove Academy at facebook.com/groups/Dr. NerdLove for more information and the link to sign up for the program. I am really looking forward to working with you. So, that's going to do it for this episode. If you've got a question you want answered on here, share it in the comments and maybe the question I'll answer next time will be yours. And if you need an answer right away or you want a guaranteed answer, check out my private coaching options. The priority email service may be exactly what you need. Links are in the show notes, so go check it out. Meanwhile, follow me on Twitter at Dr. NerdLove. Join NerdLove Academy at facebook.com/groups/Dr. NerdLove. And as always, check out my other videos, hit the logo to subscribe, and I will see you here next time with more about love, sex, and dating. Thanks for watching.